Jai Mishpat Paramansa Parivrajakacarya Ashtottara Shatashri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Mishpat Paramansa Parivrajakacarya Ashtottara Shatashri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Shri Shri Krishna Balaram Ki Jai. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 22, The Marriage of Kardamani and Devahuti, text number 9, 10, okay, 8, okay, sorry, text number 8. Saha Bhavan Duhitra Sneha Sabhavan Duhitra Sneha Sabhavan Duhitra Sneha Pariklishta Atmanaha Mama Pariklishtatmano Mana Mama Pariklishtatmano Mama Shrotum Arhasi Dinasya Shrotum Arhasi Dinasya Shrotum Arhasi Dinasya Shravitam Kripaya Mune Shravitam Kripaya Mune Shravitam Kripaya Mune Sabhavan Duhitra Sneha Pariklishtatmano Mama Shrotumarhasi Dinasya Shravitam Kripaya Mune Sabhavan Duhitra Sneha Pariklishtatmano Mama Shrotumarhasi Dinasya Shravitam Kripaya Mune. Saha, yourself. Bhavan, your honor. Duhitra Sneha, by affection for my daughter. Pariklishta Atmanaha, whose mind is agitated. Mama, my. Shrotum, to listen. Arhasi, be pleased. Dinasya, of my humble self. Shravitam, to the prayer. Kripaya, graciously. Mune, O sage. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. O great sage, graciously be pleased to listen to the prayer of my humble self, for my mind is troubled by affection for my daughter. Kindly repeat. O great sage, graciously be pleased to listen to the prayer of my humble self, for my mind is troubled by affection for my daughter. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When a disciple is perfectly in consonance with the spiritual master, having received his message and executed it perfectly and sincerely, he has a right to ask a particular favor from the spiritual master. Generally, a pure devotee of the Lord or a pure disciple of a bona fide spiritual master does not ask any favor either from the Lord or the spiritual master. But even if there is a need to ask a favor from the spiritual master, one cannot ask that favor without satisfying him fully. Swayambhuva Manu wanted to disclose his mind regarding the function he wanted to execute due to affection for his daughter. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mokam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. In Vraja, Krishna is executing various wonderful pastimes with his devotees, the Vrajavasis. Krishna's favorite animal is the cow. And therefore, Krishna took the role of a cowherd boy. And Krishna used to herd the cows and the calves to the forests in Vrindavan for grazing the cows every day. Although Nanda Maharaj was practically like a king, he had so many servants. The servants could take the cows for grazing and come back, but then Krishna used to personally go. Because Krishna had so much love and affection for the cows. And when Krishna would take the cows for grazing in the forest, Krishna would not wear any shoes, any slippers. When you go in the forest, there will be no proper walking path. You can expect a lot of thorns, pebbles, etc. to prick your feet. Generally, when we walk on such paths, we prefer to wear footwear. It's very difficult to walk on a untrodden path full of thorns and pebbles and all that without any footwear. Although Krishna was the son of a rich man, Nanda Maharaj, he had so many lakhs of cows, he had so many servants, he used to live in a palace. But still, when he would take the cows for grazing, Krishna would not wear footwear. Because the cows are not wearing any footwear. So why should I wear a footwear? That was Krishna's thinking. So Krishna would not wear any footwear. Although Krishna's lotus feet were so tender, they were so delicate, that even if a blade of grass were to touch Krishna's lotus feet, the color of his lotus feet would change. You can imagine. That is the tenderness of Krishna's body. But still, he would not desist from walking barefoot when taking the cows for grazing. One day while taking the cows for grazing, generally Krishna and Balaram would go together with all their cowherd friends for grazing in the forest. One day it so happened that Krishna went without Balaram. And he was grazing the cows. And while Krishna was engaged somewhere else, the cows and the cowherd boys, feeling very thirsty because it was summer, They were feeling very thirsty. They went to the Yamunaji to drink water. Unfortunately, unknown to them at that point of time, that portion of the Yamunaji was inhabited by the Kaliya snake. And the Kaliya snake had a very virulent venom within himself. Snakes generally, there are two kinds of snakes. There are poisonous snakes and there are non-poisonous snakes. And we all know some poisonous snakes are little less poisonous, some are very poisonous. Rattlesnake, the king cobra, these are all very poisonous snakes. Viper, etc. Kaliya was a very poisonous snake. And his fangs contained a very virulent poison, so virulent that the portion of Yamunaji where he was residing, if even a bird were to fly over that place, by smelling the poisonous fumes, it would drop dead. And for kilometers together around that area of the Yamunaji, there was not a single tree, not a single plant, because nothing could survive, except for one Kadamba tree. That Kadamba tree, why it was not affected by the poison of Kaliya? Because Garuda, foreseeing that in future this tree will be required for Krishna's service, he had put some little amrita inside that Kadamba tree, and so it did not die. Now when the cowherd boys and the calves and the cows, they came and drank the water of the Yamunaji, naturally they all dropped dead because of the poison. Krishna, when he came and he saw that all his cowherd boyfriends and the cows have fallen dead, he was very much afflicted. And Krishna, by his all-merciful glance, he brought them back to life. And then Krishna got very angry that my friends, the cowherds, and the cows and my cows, they want to drink the water of the Yamuna, and this Kaliya has polluted the Yamunaji with his Kalakuta poison, with his most virulent poison. It is disturbing my pastimes. So I will teach this Kaliya a lesson. And thinking like this, Krishna climbed onto the Kadamba tree and he jumped into the Kaliya, into the Yamunaji. And when Krishna jumped in the Yamunaji, he was hardly 6 years old or 7 years old. But still, you can imagine a 6-7-year-old jumping into the water. What will happen? Nothing much will happen. But still, when Krishna jumped into the water, the whole Yamunaji started over-flooding, as if some very huge object had fallen inside it. Because Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, had jumped into the Yamunaji. And when Kaliya understood that somebody has entered my lake, he immediately attacked Krishna. And then Krishna was caught by Kaliya in his hoods, in his, he coiled himself around Krishna and captured Krishna. By that time, one of the cowherd boyfriends had run to Nanda Maharaj and informed him, like this, Krishna has gone to Yamunaji and Kaliya has captured him. So when this news reached the village of Gokula, all the cowherds, along with all the gopis, Krishna's father, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mai, all of them came running. And when they saw that whole vision in front of them, what was happening, Yamunaji is there, in the middle of that, they could see Kaliya, and wrapped in his coils is Krishna. All the gopis, they all thought, now Krishna is finished. And they could not tolerate the thought that they would be separated from Krishna. So Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai and all the other cowherds and gopis and all rushed into the water. Somehow we have to help Krishna, like that. But Balaram, who had come along with them, Balaram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He also knows Krishna's supreme power, and he knew that Krishna was playing with Kaliya. So he stopped all of them. He prevented them from entering into the water, because if they entered into the water, they would not be able to help Krishna, but they would all die. So Balaram stopped forcibly Nanda Maharaj and others from entering the water. And when they were stopped like this, what happened? They all fainted. They all lost consciousness. And when Krishna saw that the state of all the Vrajavasis, Krishna became even more angry. He immediately started expanding his body. And when Krishna started expanding his body, Kaliya could not hold Krishna within his coils and he had to release him. And then Kaliya was also, when Krishna released himself, Kaliya also became angry. And he thought, oh, my attempt has been baffled. I will now bite Krishna with my fangs and I will kill him. And he started attacking Krishna with his hoods. What did Krishna do? Krishna jumped onto Kaliya's hoods and he started dancing. And he started dancing, and with one hand with his flute, he started playing the flute also. And naturally, all the Devatas, they were seeing this whole scene from the above, and the Gandharvas and all started playing music so that Krishna can dance very beautifully. So Krishna started dancing. And for him, the platform was the hoods of Kaliya, and the background is the Yamunaji. Imagine the scene. So, such a grand scene it would have been. Just like some years back, when there was the Beijing Olympics, the Olympics was being held in Beijing in China. The inaugural ceremony, they kept some waterfront as the backdrop and they held the event. It was such a grand spectacle. So this is an even grander spectacle because this is a live show on the head of a very poisonous snake. And dancing on the head of that poisonous snake with playing his flute and all the Gandharvas playing all the music. This is the whole fantastic spectacle happening. And Krishna, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his weight is such that nobody can withstand his weight. And therefore, always, whenever the Supreme Lord descends, it is Ananta who holds him up. We have all seen how Garbhodakasai Vishnu or Kshirodakasai Vishnu, when they are lying on the ocean, there is a Ananta who is holding him up. Ananta acts as the bed on which the Lord lies down. Because nobody else can withstand the weight of the Supreme Lord. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the heaviest personality. So now when that Krishna started dancing on the hoods of Kaliya, what happened? Kaliya started spewing all the venom. He started vomiting all the venom in his mouth. And after some time, the venom got over, the poison got over. Then what happened? Blood started coming out. He started vomiting blood. And Krishna's dance was practically like somebody was taking a hammer and hitting upon the head of Kaliya. That was what Kaliya was feeling. And gradually, his whole, his strength, his power, everything went away. And when he came to a point where he was about to die, and when Kaliya came to that state, he understood all his pride was vanquished, all his arrogance was gone, and he realized this Krishna is not an ordinary person. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when Krishna's lotus feet was touching his hoods, Kaliya went into an ecstasy. The Supreme Lord is touching my head. And so the Kaliya was not alone. He had his family. He had his children, he had his wives, the Nagapatnis. When the Nagapatnis, they were also residing in the Kaliya Hrada, they saw Kaliya is about to die. Immediately the Nagapatnis all hastily came in front of Krishna and they folded their hands and supplicated Krishna and started praying to him, requesting him to stop. And the Nagapatnis, they prayed to Krishna, Krishna, this Kaliya is our husband and he is going to die now, please stop. And Krishna also seeing that the Nagapatnis who are his devotees are fervently praying to him, Krishna also stopped dancing. And then all the Nagapatnis offered various paraphernalia of arati and all that for Krishna, and they supplicated him and they started praying to Krishna. They prayed to Krishna expressing their surprise that how the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna is desired even by Lakshmi Devi. But even Lakshmi Devi does not get the opportunity to serve directly the lotus feet of Krishna. She has to be satisfied with serving the lotus feet of Narayana only. And Lakshmi Devi did years and years of Gora Tapasya, intense austerities, tapasya she did for years together in Bilvavana at the border of Raja, wanting to participate in the Rasa Leela of Krishna. But she did not get that opportunity. She was not given that opportunity. So, the Nagapatnis, they express their surprise that even Lakshmi Devi is not able to get the dust of your lotus feet. So, how is it that this sinful Kaliya has got the dust of his lotus feet on his head? This is a great surprise. And like this, the Nagapatnis, they prayed lot of wonderful prayers they submitted to to Krishna, and they pacified him. And Kaliya also came to his senses. He also managed to recover from he was on the verge of death. He managed to recover from that, and he also offered his prayers to Krishna. And then Krishna told Kaliya that he must not remain in that lake, because frequently his cows and all the cowherd boyfriends would come there to drink the Yamuna water. So he should not disturb Krishna's pastimes. So he should go to the ocean. And so Kaliya, along with the Nagapatnis, vacated the place and went to the ocean. So, one of the prayers that the Nagapatnis offered to Krishna was, they said, na naka prishtam, na sarvabhaumam, na parameshtyam, na rasadipatyam, na yoga siddhir apunarbhavam va vanchanti tava pada raja prapannaha. The Nagapatnis, they prayed to Krishna that, O Krishna, tava pada rajaha, the dust of your lotus feet. Forget about Krishna's power. The power of the dust of your lotus feet is such that Tvat pada raja prapannaha, those who have surrendered to the dust of your lotus feet, not even to your lotus feet, not even to you. Somebody who has surrendered to the dust of your lotus feet, what happens to them? They lose all their desire. They no more desire. Na naka prishtam. Naka prishtam. Naka means the Swargaloka or the Dhurvaloka. Naka prishtam means they don't want lordship over Swarga. They don't want the post of Indra. They don't want to rule over Dhruvaloka. Na sarvabhaumam. They don't want to become the rulers of all the planetary systems. Na parameshtyam. They do not desire the position of Brahma, because Brahma's position is the topmost in this material world. He is the person who creates this material world upon the order of Krishna. So, in this material world, everybody is desiring a higher and a higher position. Everybody wants promotion to a higher and higher position. The topmost position that a person can achieve is the position of Brahma within this material world. So, na parameshti means Brahma. Na parameshtyam, those who have surrendered to the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna do not desire even the position of Brahma. And na rasadipatyam, they do not desire the lordship over the lower planetary systems also. They don't want lordship of any planet for that matter within this material world. Right from Brahma down to Patala Loka, they don't want lordship over any of them. Not even the position of Brahma, not even the position of Yamaraj. So somebody may say, okay, these are all material things. There are many people who don't, who lose their attraction for this material world. They become sannyasis and all that without surrendering to Krishna. So what's the big deal about this? So the Nagapatnis say, na yoga siddhir. Forget about all these material things. Anybody who has surrendered to the dust of your lotus feet will even lose the attraction for all the yoga siddhis. Adima, Lagima, Prapti, Siddhi, all these Ashta Siddhis that are there, by performing Ashtanga Yoga, what a person gets. To become smaller than the smallest, to become lighter than the lightest, to be able to create wonderful things, to be able to control other people. Like this, all these Ashta Siddhis, they are very much they are very much attractive for the people in this material world. So even that becomes unattractive for the devotees of Krishna who have surrendered to the dust of his lotus feet. Somebody may say, okay, even Yoga Siddhi is not a big deal. There are people who are liberated people. They attain mukti. Na Yoga Siddhir apunarbhavam va. Even liberation from repeated birth and death in this material world loses its sheen. It loses its attraction for somebody who has surrendered to the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. So this is the power of the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. Now this is, one may think, okay, Nagapatnis are talking like that. Somehow they wanted to save Kaliya from Krishna, Kaliya from dying. So they glorified little Krishna extra. Little, sometimes, when you flatter a person, suppose you are going to some big man for some favor, you flatter him. Flatter him how? You glorify him in such a way that in a way which is more than what he actually is. Then the person will become very pleased and he will tell, okay, you tell me what you want, I'll do something for you. So maybe the Nagapatnis were talking like that. But no, if we look at the Srimad-Bhagavatam, there is the description of Vritrasura. Vritrasura was a great devotee. Although he was an asura, he was a great devotee of Krishna. And he happened to have a fight with Indra. And during the fight with Indra, what happened? Indra was fighting with Vritrasura, and Indra's weapon fell down. And when Indra's weapon fell down from his hand, he felt very despondent and he thought, okay, I'm not going to win. What is the use of fighting? Then Vritrasura started motivating Indra. No, why are you thinking like this? After all, you are fighting, you are on the righteous path and Krishna is on your side. So you cannot lose. You take up the weapon and fight and kill me. Like that, Vritrasura started motivating Indra. Now, why is Vritrasura asking Indra to come and kill him? Because Vritrasura said that if you kill me now, then I can leave my body thinking of Krishna. And I can achieve the supreme destination, Vaikuntha Loka. So what greater benefit can I have than that? So come on, fight and kill me. That was Vritrasura's this one. And when Vritrasura started saying this, he also recited exactly the same thing what the Nagapatnis are saying. Vritrasura also said, Na nakaprishtam, na chaparameshtyam, na sarvabhaumam, na rasadipatyam, na yoga siddhir apunarbhavam va. Samanjasa tvat pada. So he said, without the shelter of your lotus feet, I do not want the sovereignty, I do not want to rule over the Svargaloka, I do not want lordship over the entire planetary systems, 14 planetary systems. I don't want the position of Brahma, I don't want the position of Yamaraja ruling over all the nether worlds. I don't want any of the yoga siddhis, I don't want liberation also. Without the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. The same thing was said by Vritrasura also. So this is not some exaggeration, this is a real fact. Anybody who has achieved the dust of the favor of the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna will lose attraction for all kinds of material opulences, even up to the point of liberation. Okay, we may say that, okay, a devotee is not interested in all these material things. He is a vairagi, he is a renunciant. He is not interested in all these things. He is not interested even in mukti. Moksha also is not interesting to him. But then, going back to Godhead, going to Vaikuntha Loka and becoming a resident of Vaikuntha Loka is definitely attractive. So for that, the Bhagavatam says that Salokya sarshti sarupya samipyaikyatvam diyamanamapi na grinnanti vinamat sevanam janaha. The Supreme Lord said that there are 5 kinds of liberation. Salokya, to achieve the same planet as the Supreme Lord. which is the Vaikuntha Loka. Salokya Sarshti, to achieve opulence equivalent to that of the Supreme Lord. If you go to Vaikuntha Loka, there are many, many residents, there are many, many devotees of Narayana living there. And all of them are, practically when we look at them, you cannot differentiate between them and Narayana. The kind of ornaments that they wear and their beautiful effulgent complexion, their opulence is such that it is equal to the level of Narayana. The only thing that they don't possess is Srivatsa and the Kaustubha Mani. Apart from that, you compare them with Narayana, you cannot find any difference, because they have achieved Sarshti. They have achieved similar opulence to that of Narayana, and Sarupya. They have achieved forms which are exactly like that of Narayana. 4 hands having conch, then disc, Shankha, Chakra, Gada and Padma, and a beautiful golden crown fitted with all the most valuable gems, and wearing beautiful golden ornaments, having a beautiful golden girdle around their waist, wearing beautiful yellow golden colored silk. So their opulence and their forms are exactly like that of Narayana. This is one kind of mukti, one kind of liberation. And Samipya, some of them are constantly with Narayana, holding an umbrella for him, doing chamar for him. Somebody is helping Narayana wear his shoes, etc. So there are some people who are constantly very closely with Narayana. That is another kind of mukti. And Aikya, there are some people who want to merge into Narayana's Brahman. That Aikya or Sayuja Mukti is anyway not a mukti which devotees are concerned with. As we have already discussed, even Vritrasura as well as the Nagapatni said, Apunar Bhavamba, liberation from repeated birth and death within this material world and merging into Brahman is not something which is appealing to the devotees. So, the other 4 kinds of liberation, Salokya, Sarshti, Sarupya, Samipya, these are not detrimental to devotional service. So devotees can accept them. Devotees can be attracted to them. The Supreme Lord Narayana says, Diyamanamapi, even if I were to personally offer these to my devotees, my dear devotee, you don't want anything, but I want to give you. Please take Salokya, please take Sarshti, please take Samipya, please take Sarupya. Na grinnanti, my devotees refuse, they don't want. Vina matsevanam janaha. They, without devotional service to the Supreme Lord, they are not interested in even liberation of achieving a position very close to the Supreme Lord in Vaikuntha. That means, if there is no opportunity for devotional service, even the 5 kinds of liberation are not acceptable to the devotees. Or, in other words, if you want to look at it, when the Lord is saying, Vinamat Sevanam Janaha, you can also take it to understand that if it is required for my service to the Supreme Lord, I am ready to accept Salokya, Sarshti, Samipya, Sarupya, but if it is not required for my service, I don't want. This is the approach of a devotee. A devotee is simply interested in serving the Supreme Lord. He is not interested in liberation. He is not interested in any personal motivation. There is no personal demand or requirement that a devotee wants to fulfill from the Supreme Lord. So, actually, this is a unique characteristic of the Vrajavasis. Although devotees, pure devotees may be there, who may have some material desire. They may be pure devotees, but still some desire. They may have something to ask from the Supreme Lord. Just like we are seeing Kardamani. He was a pure devotee. He meditated upon Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu personally appeared before him. He was such a great devotee. The Lord appears only before pure devotees, not before others. But in front of Kardamani he appeared. So why did Kardamani meditate upon the Lord and make him appear before him? Because he wanted a suitable wife. It was a material desire. To desire a suitable wife, to desire a child who may be a great devotee, even these kind of desires are also material desires. And a devotee is not interested in asking any of these things from the Supreme Lord. A devotee who is on the platform of Kevala Bhakti. A devotee, a pure devotee who is on the platform of Karma Mishra Bhakti or Jnana Mishra Bhakti may have some demands from the Supreme Lord. Oh my Lord, I want this, please save me, please protect me. They may have some requirements. But if you look at the Brajavasis, the devotees who are in Vraja, in Goloka Vrindavan with Krishna, they have no desire, absolutely no desire other than to serve the Supreme Lord. Therefore, you find Kevala Bhakti only in Vraja, not anywhere else. So, this is the standard of the highest devotees of the Supreme Lord, not to ask anything from the Supreme Lord, save and except for one thing, which is to be able to never forget Krishna and to have the opportunity to serve the Supreme Lord, to chant His holy name constantly without any fail. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also prayed to Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prayer to Krishna was that Ashlishyava padaratam pinashtumam adarshanan marmahatam karotuva. Oh my dear Lord, you may embrace me with affection, or you may discard me, you may trample upon me. Pinashtumam adarshanan marmahatam karotuva. Or you may choose to kill me by not giving your audience, by not giving your darshan. You may do as you desire. In whatever way you want, you can treat me. You can treat me very nicely or you can treat me very badly. I don't bother. Mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatad bhaktir ahaituki tvayi. Only thing I want is ahaituki bhakti for you, life after life. Meaning Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I don't even want liberation. Janmani means you are taking birth after birth, means there is no liberation, there is no mukti. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, I don't want mukti. I don't even want that you have to always be present before me, in front of me. You don't even have to give me darshan. You break my heart. You make me broken hearted by never appearing before me. No problem. But still, you are the Lord of my heart, and please, my only request to you is, Ahaituki Bhakti, give me unmotivated, unalloyed devotional service to you. This is the standard of Kevala Bhakti, which was revealed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And that is why all the devotees in all the spiritual planets, they consider the Brajavasis to the topmost devotees, to be the topmost devotees who have no consideration other than serving Krishna, other than the pleasure of Krishna. So, therefore, a devotee never asks the spiritual master or the Supreme Personality of Godhead anything for their own self, not even liberation. The only thing they want is unmotivated devotional service. So, therefore, Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport that generally a pure devotee of the Lord or a pure disciple of a bona fide spiritual master does not ask any favor either from the Lord or the spiritual master. This is the platform of Kevala Bhakti. But Swayambhuva Manu is not on the platform of Kevala Bhakti. He still has some things to be fulfilled, some desires to be fulfilled. And so therefore, he is presenting his request before Kardamani. But his request also, Prabhupada is qualifying, but even if there is a need to ask a favor from the spiritual master, one cannot ask that favor without satisfying him fully. And so therefore, Swayambhuva Manu first glorified Kardamani, satisfied him with suitable prayers, and then he is putting forth his request. Just like we see even in the example of Kardamani, even Kardamani, he had a desire to be fulfilled. He wanted a material desire to be fulfilled by the Supreme Lord. But then directly he did not ask. He did meditation upon the Supreme Lord and carried out various tapasyas for 10,000 years. And when the Lord became pleased with his tapasya and appeared before him, then Kardamani, knowing that now I have pleased the Supreme Lord, then he put forth his request. Generally we see in this world, the Sakama Bhaktas, the devotees of the Supreme Lord or the devotees of various Devatas, whenever they have some desire, first they go and ask the Lord. Especially you see devotees of Devatas, demigods. They'll go to some Ganesha temple or to Lord Shiva or somewhere, and they will start praying. Exams are coming near. If you give me so many marks, then I'll come and break 108 coconuts for you. So if you give me, then I'll please you. But in the case of devotees, it's not like that. First please the Lord, then ask whatever you want to ask. The rule is, the best standard of devotional service is, don't ask anything. Simply please the Supreme Lord and His pure devotee, spiritual master. But if at all there is some desire which you are not able to control, it is an uncontrollable urge, you want to ask, you are not able to live without it, okay. You ask, but then first please the spiritual master and the Supreme Lord, then ask. But a pure devotee on the platform of Kevala Bhakti who has really achieved the favor of the dust of a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada or the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna, they have nothing to desire beginning from the material, the highest material pleasure of ruling over the entire universe up till the point of even liberation. Even Sarupya, Sarshti, Salokya, even they are not interested in going back to God. That also is not a demand for them. That is the attitude or approach of a devotee who has really got the favor, who has got the blessings of a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Krishna himself. In other words, if we have any desire in our heart, if we have some material desires in our heart, we have to understand that we have still not got the full blessings of Srila Prabhupada. If we have got the full blessings of Srila Prabhupada, then no desire will be left to be fulfilled in our lives. Our only goal will be how to please Prabhupada, how to please Mahaprabhu, how to please Krishna. This is the real standard of devotion service. That is why every day when we do Guru Puja, we sing Kevala Bhakati Sadma. Shri Guru Charana Padma, Kevala Bhakati Sadma. Our Guru's lotus feet, Srila Prabhupada's, our spiritual master, our Guru, Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, they are the only source of Kevala Bhakti for us. So we are worshipping Srila Prabhupada, we are following his instructions, not for some benediction for ourselves. We are serving his instructions for pleasing him and pleasing Krishna. That should be the goal. That should be the real result of getting the shelter of the lotus feet of Prabhupada and Krishna. So, we should take these instructions from the Bhagavatam and we should develop the right kind of desire in order to be able to achieve the supreme destination of Goloka Vrindavan, which is to simply please the spiritual master, the pure devotees and Krishna. So I'll stop here. If there are any questions or comments, we can discuss. Yes, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna says in Bhagavad-gita, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu.
Yes.
I'm equal to everyone. But when you see the Krishna's reciprocation in case of Lakshmi, in case of Kaliya, so even though Lakshmi did Gora Tapasya to get
the Nagapatnis also sang, Kasyana bhavo asmin na vidmahe, obtain the dust of your lotus feet. So the adhikara, where did he get the adhikara to receive the dust of your lotus feet? Whereas Lalanachara tapo dritavrata. So the Lalana, the Lakshmi Devi, she gave up all other desires and Acharat tapaha, she executed severe austerities for a long period of time, but she did not get the dust, the favor of the dust of your lotus feet. So how can we understand that? We are not able to understand this. This was the amazement which was expressed even by the Nagapatnis. So, although Krishna says, Samoham Sarvabhuteshu, that Krishna is equal to all the living entities, there are two other aspects also which we have to consider. One is that Krishna is equal to all the living entities. At the same time, Krishna also says that ye yatamam prapadyante tam sadaiva bhajamyaham. That as you desire to serve me, I reciprocate accordingly. This is one thing. So, the Supreme Lord, He sees the desire of the living entity, and in whatever way the living entity wants to approach Krishna, Krishna takes similar roles. Some living entity wants to be a devotee of Krishna, so Krishna gives him that opportunity. Krishna takes him. Acharya Chaitya Babusha, Krishna takes the form of the spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada and guides us back to him. Somebody wants to become a devotee of Narayana, then Krishna accordingly guides him. Somebody wants to become an enemy of Krishna, Krishna gives him an opportunity. Okay, become Kamsa, become Hiranyakashipu. Krishna gives opportunity for that also. So that way Krishna is equal to everyone because he is giving opportunity for everyone to fulfill his desires as they desire. According to your desire, Krishna will fulfill. So the question that comes is that Lakshmi Devi desired to become one of the, she desired to participate in the Rasa Leela of Krishna, but she did not get that opportunity, although she desired. So Krishna, ye yatamam prapadyante, when you say, why Krishna is not fulfilling the desire of Lakshmi Devi? Because qualification is required to fulfill a desire also. A jiva may desire to reciprocate with Krishna in a particular way, but then qualification is also required. If we think, let me also become an enemy like Kamsa, we cannot become like Kamsa. You require a certain qualification to become Kamsa also. So, the qualification required to participate in the Rasa Leela of Krishna is that unless one takes the body of a gopi, unless one takes birth as a gopi and serves all the other gopis, one cannot get that opportunity. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains this to Venkata Bhatta. He says that the reason why Lakshmi Devi could not enter the Rasa Leela of Krishna was because although she desired to enter the Rasa Leela, she wanted to enter the Rasa Leela as Lakshmi Devi herself. She did not want to give up her body of Lakshmi and then take birth as a gopi and then enter. She wanted to remain Lakshmi Devi and enter that Rasa Leela. So therefore she did not get that opportunity. She did not have the qualification. That is one thing. Okay, so Lakshmi Devi did not have the qualification, we can understand. Therefore she did not receive the mercy of the dust, of serving the dust of the lotus feet of Krishna. But then what qualification Kaliya had? So Kaliya, what we have to understand is the second aspect of Krishna. The second aspect of Krishna, ye yatamam prapadyante tam sadaiva bhajamyaham is one. The second aspect of Krishna is Swarat. He is supremely independent. He can do anything that he desires, we cannot question. The Supreme Lord sometimes desires to shower his causeless mercy upon a most unqualified personality. Just like Jagai and Madai, what was their qualification? They had no qualification to chant the holy names of Krishna. But Nityananda Prabhu thought, let me give them the mercy of the holy name. They became pure devotees. So, the Lord, giving his mercy to unqualified people demonstrates his supremacy and his being supremely independent to be able to do whatever he desires without any obstruction. Normally in this material world, when we desire to do something, there will be so many obstructions. It's not easy for us to fulfill our desires. Even though we may be big ministers and president and all those kind of things, still sometimes certain desires of ours don't get fulfilled. Just like when we wanted to get our Akshaya Patra kitchen in Greaves Road, we wanted to get it inaugurated. We approached the governor of Tamil Nadu and requested him for a date to inaugurate. He said, 16th, 17th, 18th of January, any one of these dates I'll come and inaugurate. We were very happy. Okay, the governor has decided. Now everybody has to, all the bureaucrats, everybody has to align themselves and the inauguration has to happen. After 2 days or 3 days, what happened? Suddenly the corona cases started increasing and the government announced, we are cancelling all government programs, no more government program. So he is the governor of the state, a very powerful person. He wants to inaugurate, but what the law of material nature, some small virus, some kitanu stopped him from doing it. That virus has no position in society. It is stopping the governor from fulfilling his desire. So no matter how powerful you are, even if you are Indra, even if you are Brahma, many times our desires get obstructed. We cannot fulfill them. Because we are not supremely independent. There are so many things, factors which are not in our control. Whereas Krishna is supremely independent. He is Swarat. Nothing can stop him. When Krishna desires something, it has to happen. No law, no reason, no logic, no material power can stop him from fulfilling his desire. So Krishna's giving the mercy of the dust of his lotus feet to Kaliya is a testimony to Krishna's being supremely independent, the supremely powerful, all-powerful Supreme Personality of Godhead, without any restriction, without any obstruction. That is how we understand. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Any other point? Yes.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, in Krishna book, we see because of Kamsa's atrocities, all the, like Rohini was staying in the shelter of Nanda Maharaj.
Yes.
So we see that because Devaki's fearful condition, Balaram was transferred to the womb of Rohini.
Yeah.
And Krishna was given or like delivered by Vasudev to Nanda Maharaj.
Yes.
So how the residents of Vrindavan accepted Krishna and Balaram as brothers?
How they accepted Krishna and Balaram as brothers, although in their eyes, Balaram was the daughter of, was the son of Rohini, and Krishna was the son of Nanda Maharaj, yes. Isn't it? So there are a few things to consider in this. First point is that Nanda Maharaj and Vasudeva are stepbrothers. The Nanda Maharaj was born to a Vaishya mother, and Vasudeva was born to a Kshatriya mother from the same father, Shurasena. So that's how they are already brothers. So that way, if you look at it, Krishna and Balaram, even though Krishna may be considered the son of Nanda Maharaj and Balaram the son of Vasudeva, they are cousin brothers. So they are brothers only. Right? So that is one thing. Second thing is that when Rohini was living in the house of Nanda Maharaj, practically Yashoda Mai, she considered Balaram her son also. And Rohini also considered Krishna her son, no different from that. So when Krishna and Balaram grew up, they were taken care of by Rohini and by Yashoda Mai with equal affection, such that everybody saw them as brothers only. This is the reality. And in reality anyway, both of them if you look at it in one way, both Krishna and Balaram are sons of Devaki only. So that way they are real brothers also. It is both ways. So but as far as the Brajavasis are concerned, because Rohini was staying in the household of Nanda Maharaj, so and Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai, they considered Vasudeva's son is as good as our son. There is no difference between them. So therefore they looked upon them like their own children, and the Brajavasis also accepted it like that. So they always treated them as brothers. That's how we understand. Okay? So, yes, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
In the class, you explained about like one should not have any desire and ask for fulfillment to the spiritual master as well as Krishna.
Yeah.
So now, like a devotee, maybe due to some health issue or something, one aspect health issue. Now that health is obstacle in execution of devotional service.
Yes.
So devotee can have the desire to get out from that obstacle. Can he pray to Srila Prabhupada and the Lord first? Second thing, maybe any service, certain kind of skill or something or some ability required to accomplish that service, to fulfill that service. So can devotee pray to the Lord and Prabhupada to get that ability?
Okay. Okay. So the point is that it is not against the devotional principles to ask Krishna anything, because ultimately Krishna is our supreme protector and supreme maintainer. So it's not against devotional principles to ask. However, it is not the topmost standard. On the topmost standard of Kevala Bhakti, what happens is we have to understand, in the Nectar of Devotion also it is stated there is no material obstacle which can stop a devotee from rendering devotional service. Our health or lack of some skill, these are all material things. A material thing can never stop a devotee from executing devotional service. So therefore, a devotee who is on that platform of Kevala Bhakti, he does not even seek good health or some skill which is lacking from the Supreme Lord. He takes, on the other hand, what does he take it as? If he is having some health issues, some big problem is there, difficulty is there, body is not cooperating, how does he look at it? He looks at it that Bhunjana eva atmakritam vipakam. He considers that this is the result of my past sinful activity, and Krishna is so kind. According to my past sinful reaction, I should have got a mountain of reaction. But Krishna has reduced it to a small disease and he has finished it off. So why should I ask Krishna to remove it? Krishna has already taken the effort to reduce my disease and give it to a small extent. Why should I go and trouble Krishna again? Bhunjana eva atmakritam vipakam. The Bhagavatam says Bhunjana, the devotee, Bhunjana means the devotee, he continues to suffer that distress without asking for relief from that distress. Just like you see Kunti Devi also. What was Kunti Devi's prayers after she got back after her sons got back Hastinapura and Yudhishthira Maharaj was crowned the king and Krishna was leaving Hastinapura going back to Dwaraka. What was Kunti Devi's prayers? Kunti Devi said, Vishan Mahagne Purushad Darshanad Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Kritshrataha Mride Aneka Maharata Sruto Draunyastracha Asma Hare Bhirakshitaha. O Supreme Lord Hari Krishna, you have protected us from so many calamities. From being poisoned by Duryodhana, from the great Rakshasas who attacked us within the forest. You saved us in that assembly of Asat, of all the evil people, where you protected the honor of Draupadi. You protected us from the various great commanders like Bhishma, Drona and others in that battlefield. And finally you protected us from the Brahmastra which Ashwathama left. So you protected, always you have protected us. After that, what does Kunti pray? Kunti could have said, okay, now Krishna, now everything is all right, so please ensure that no more such troubles come. Was that her prayer? No. She said, Vipadaha santu taha shashvat tatra tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yat syad apunar bhavadarshanam. O Supreme Lord Krishna, may all these calamities fall upon us again and again. Why? Has she gone mad or what? She is saying, why? Because whenever such calamity is there, bhavato darshanam yat syad, we are able to have darshan of you. Because when there is a calamity, when there is a distress, that intensity of that distress forces us to remember Krishna. That's a common thing, no? Whenever we have difficulty, we remember God. Whenever we have happiness, what happens? Whenever there is some problem, distress, we ask, why is God giving me this trouble? That time we remember God. We become successful. I got an Olympic medal. How did you get an Olympic medal? All my hard work. My parents, my coaches, the government, they have all supported me, and my ability, I have managed to get it. Where is God? Out of the picture. So naturally, when there is distress, we remember God. When there is happiness, we forget God. So Kunti Devi is saying, now that everything is so nice and everything is settled, I am afraid we'll forget you. Better let us not have this kingdom. Let us always keep repeatedly having problems, calamities in our life, so that we can constantly be with you, within your association. So a devotee never asks for any, alleviation of some disease or some distress so that he can serve Krishna better. On the other hand, Bhunjana eva atmakritam vipakam susamikshamano. He is constantly anticipating that Krishna will shower his mercy upon me. At the same time, Bhunjana, he is peacefully undergoing whatever distress he has to undergo, thinking that this is my own doing. Krishna has so mercifully reduced it. So I cannot go and ask, when Krishna has already done this much for me, I cannot go and ask Krishna again that you remove this also. If I go and ask what, Krishna will think, already I reduced this fellow, look at this ungrateful fellow. Instead of being grateful for whatever I have reduced, he is coming and asking, remove this also. So where is understanding of Krishna's reciprocation in our life? So a devotee doesn't ask for alleviation of any material distress. And when it comes to lack of some skill for rendering devotional service to Krishna, that also devotee does not ask. Why? Because Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita, Yoga Kshemam Mahamyaham. If you are rendering devotional service to you, if we are rendering devotional service to Krishna, Krishna knows what I need, what I don't need. If he feels that this devotee he lacks this skill and he requires some extra skill to be able to serve me nicely, Krishna will give. Yoga Kshema Mahamyaham. Krishna has taken personal charge of our lives. So why Krishna will not give? Krishna does not know, is it? I am wiser than Krishna. I know what I require, Krishna does not know, therefore I will go and ask. No, devotee knows, Krishna knows what I require better than I do. Maybe if I get this skill, I'll become very proud and arrogant. So Krishna is not giving. So still, with whatever skill and ability Krishna has already given, actually whatever skill I am already having is also not mine. It is given by Krishna only. So with whatever is available, I'll render my best possible devotional service to Krishna. If Krishna is satisfied with that, very good. If Krishna is not satisfied, then he will immediately give me whatever is required. So Krishna personally protects what we have and he provides what we lack. Krishna knows what we lack and what we need. Krishna will take care. So therefore, that is one of the principles of Sharanagati. Principles of Sharanagati, 6 principles of Sharanagati. One is that Krishna is my maintainer. Krishna knows how to maintain me. I don't have to go and ask him, give me this, give me that. Right? Rakshayishyati iti vishwaso goptrutve varanam goptrutva. Now, Krishna is my maintainer. He knows how to maintain me. I don't have to go and teach him. So therefore, a devotee does not ask from the Supreme Lord on the platform of pure devotional service. Although it is not that if some devotee goes and asks that Krishna will get displeased with him or that is a sinful activity or nothing like that. But we are talking of higher and higher standards of devotional service. So we have to aspire to come to that level where, we are constantly bunjana eva atmakritam vipakam. We are not disturbed by some sinful reaction which is taking its effect in our life. We understand that, okay, whatever has to happen is happening. That's also Krishna's mercy only. So any distress is coming in my life is also Krishna's mercy. Because Krishna wants me to remember him more intensely. Krishna wants me to understand that this material world is dukkhalayam ashaswatam. He wants me to perfectly realize that this material world is a place of distress. Krishna does not want me to get stuck here. That's why he is mercifully giving me distress. Just like parents, sometimes when the child doesn't study, they will go and take a stick and beat the child. Now child, when it gets a beating, it is a great distress. So the parent is not a sadistic person that he wants to give distress to the child. But then seeing the future of the child, keeping in mind the future benefit of the child, the parent may refuse to allow the child to play and he may give some punishment so that the child becomes reformed and his future is bright. So out of love and affection only the parent is doing it. If the parent has no love and affection for the child wants to play, doesn't want to study, you get lost, do whatever you want, yeah, I'm not bothered. So that's not real love, no. Real love means the parent is concerned where the child will go wrong and he will chastise and he will rectify the child. Similarly, the Supreme Lord Krishna is also so loving towards us, he is very concerned. He is more concerned than we can be about ourselves. He is concerned that how quickly we can be purified and go back to Godhead. So for that end, the Supreme Lord will give all kinds of experiences to us, good as well as bad, so that we can quickly go back to Godhead. So therefore, a devotee is never disturbed by any distresses which come in his life. He carries on with his devotional service to the best of his ability. The best example of this is that Brahmana who was in Srirangam I think, Srirangam or some other place, whom Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met, who was an illiterate. His guru had ordered him to read Bhagavad-gita every day because he was illiterate. He did not know how to read. Now he did not start thinking, oh, my guru, what kind of order he has given. He knows that I am illiterate. Still he is telling me to read. What kind of order he is giving? So he did not think like that. He said, okay, I don't know how to read. At least I can hold the book in my hand. No, so let me hold the book every day and turn the pages. That much I can do. That much, to that extent, I can follow the instruction of my spiritual master. He followed. So therefore, what happened? The spiritual master became pleased with him. Sometimes the spiritual master also gives instructions which we cannot follow, to test our faith in the spiritual master's instruction. So when the spiritual master saw that he is without any complaint, without any doubt, he is with complete conviction and faith is following my instruction, what happened is, in his heart, he got the realization that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him the certificate. He said, none of these scholarly brahmanas who are sitting here, who are all big scholars of Sanskrit, have understood Bhagavad-gita. You, although you are illiterate, you have understood the essence of the Bhagavad-gita. Why? Because he, despite the lack of the skill of Sanskrit knowledge, he studied the Bhagavad-gita very properly, with complete faith in the instructions of the spiritual master. So, lack of skill, lack of proper health, these are all not real obstructions in the execution of devotional service. No material circumstance can be an obstruction for us to execute our devotional service. This is the reality. This is one of the 5 characteristics of Bhakti. Bhakti cannot be prevented by any material obstacle. So when that is the case, why should a devotee ask for removal of any of these things? So that is how a devotee approaches. Is that okay? We'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.